and new welterweight champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen, Belal Muhammad. UFC 304 has now concluded. The UFC has gone back to Manchester, England, and a lot of people are calling it a lackluster night. I wouldn't say it's lackluster. I just think it was okay. A lot of these fights are exactly what I expected. I made a video prior to this one, if you want to go check it out, with my main card predictions when Mokaev and Kape were supposed to be in the main card. I gave 5 fight predictions. I got all 5 right. I had a terrible night of betting. I'll be honest. My prelim picks were terrible because a lot of English folk didn't come through and they all choked. But it is what it is. I'm going to be talking about the ones I covered and just some announcements of UFC 304. And I want to talk about it all here with you. I'm going to start off with Kape, Mokaev. A lot of people wanted them in the main card. Let's be honest. They deserve to be. That was a title eliminator fight. But we didn't get what we deserved. There was a lot of barking, and when they stepped in there was high-level mixed martial arts and a lot of respect for one another. We had issues in the UFC Performance Institute. We had issues at the hotel. We had issues at the weigh-ins. Step into the octagon, nothing. You see 2 guys with no hunger, just going at it. Mokaev, like I said, I thought he was going to cruise to a decision. I thought that's what he did. I didn't think anything special of either of their performances. I thought it was a well-judged fight, and that's it. That's all she wrote. But after that, what we did get was Dana White in the post-fight press conference getting a question about Mokaev and him insinuating that he's not going to re-sign him. It was weird. Mokaev stepped in the octagon and he says, "Do you guys think I deserve to be re-signed?" And he's verbalized before that the matchmakers didn't like the way he fought and have told him to adjust how he fights, which to a certain extent I could see happening. I don't think the UFC tells you how to fight, but definitely if you're not as entertaining as they like or not doing the things that they recommend for you to do, I could see how you're not one of their favorites or you don't have somewhat of a privilege in the sport. Either way, he's an undefeated fighter coming up. He's winning fights. I don't see why they wouldn't sign him, but Dana White either way says that the matchmakers are not fans of him for several reasons, and I don't know what just happened to my tongue there, but that he wishes him well because he thinks that the PFL is going to be able to sign a great undefeated fighter, which everyone took by surprise. I mean, I'm surprised. I don't think it's the right move as UFC as a company. If you have issues on how this guy's acting, then you speak to him, you fine him, whatever it is. But I don't think he deserves to not be re-signed. But again, we don't know what happened backstage. Moving on. Arnold Allen, Giga Chikadze, a bit of a disappointment. I thought Arnold Allen looked great. Giga Chikadze looked decent, but Giga Chikadze is just so scared to exchange. He did not want to be within the distance with Arnold Allen. He wanted to keep it at a fair distance for him to just let his legs go. But at the end of the day, you got to bring something else to the table, Giga. You're dealing with the best of a division. You can't just be some Mortal Kombat kicker and expect to win fights. It doesn't work that way. And he just ran away from Arnold Allen the whole fight. I wish I could go back and just see center control time because I don't think Giga Chikadze stepped into the center of the octagon other than to shake hands or to hear the announcement at the end of the fight. That man was just circling around the octagon with Arnold Allen coming and pushing forward. Credit to Arnold Allen because he was, at the end of the day, he didn't grapple, which in my opinion is what should have been done in this fight. That should have been the game plan. And then afterwards, he did say that was somewhat of a game plan by his coaches, but he just disregarded it. But he did an okay job of closing the distance, landing the more effective shots, and ultimately, I think that's why he won the fight. But pretty boring fight up to now. He wins in decision, and then we move on. Next up, Paddy Pimblett, King Green. Listen, King Green, Bobby King Green, whatever you want to call him, he's a great fighter. Like I've said before, he's a street fighter. He has a lot of wits when it comes to striking. His hands are down. He's slick. He's really fast. And for someone as inexperienced as Paddy Pimblett, that could be an issue. Also, Paddy Pimblett has proven that his striking defense is not as good. You see him leaving his chin up often. He throws a lot of blows where he overextends. So there's been a lot of reasons for people to doubt Paddy Pimblett up to this point in the striking department. With that being said, I think he's developed well as a fighter. And when I saw this matchup, all I thought was grappling. And I said it. I said that should be Paddy Pimblett's game plan. Do not strike with Bobby Green. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you need to take him down. I think you need to either take it to decision with control time or find the submission. Lucky for us, Bobby Green obviously was having issues with that leg kick or issues closing the distance because for about a couple minutes, for about the first minute, what we saw is leg kick, leg kick, leg kick, leg kick, leg kick, leg kick. And it looked like Paddy Pimblett was landing them. They were effective. And then all of a sudden, you see Bobby Green just shoot. And you got to say, Bobby Green, what's he going for the takedown for? I still don't know. And I wonder if in the post-fight press conference he made a mention, because I didn't see it. But there was no, that had to be the last thing Bobby Green needed to do, unless he was shaken up or about to get knocked down, right? But there was none of that. So I'm very curious as why he went for the takedown. But either way, Bobby Green goes for a takedown. And Paddy Pimblett just goes for this beautiful, beautiful submission. It's a triangle. Then he turns it into an armbar. And by the time Bobby Green is facing upward, he goes for the armbar, stretches out his arm, but he looks like he's asleep. The ref stops it. Bobby Green lays flat. He's looking up at the ceiling. He's out of it. Paddy Pimblett, first round submission. I called it. But anyway, great fight. And I think it says a lot about Paddy Pimblett. I think now he's going to be ranked. I think now I actually like the Renato Moicano call out. I think it makes a lot of sense, being that I'd say both of them, I'm not going to say have mediocre striking, but lower level striking compared to other guys in the UFC, but very high level grappling. I want to see those guys go at it, and I think it sells, and I just like the idea of it. As far as King Green, I hate to say it, but yes, I mean, he's going to be just that durable veteran guy. They could put him in. You could sneak him into a main card. He's entertaining. People want to watch him. You can make him brawl with other guys up and coming. And that's what we're going to get from King Green. At the end of the day, he's not a real contender. Even in that UFC 300 fight with Jim Miller, you were killing Jim Miller and you couldn't put him away. And kudos to Jim Miller because he's very durable. But Bobby Green, man, over 50 professional fights, you got to know that you're on the way out. And Paddy Pimblett did a good job steamrolling through him. So let's see what's next. Next up, heavyweight interim champion Tom Aspinall took on Curtis Blaydes. For a second, I did think that if Curtis Blaydes came in with a very big wrestling approach, Tom Aspinall might be seen in a different light. I thought, man, what if he got the best of him? What if he just got some control time? We saw minutes of ground and pound, just not being able to get up, gets up, taken down again, But wow, Curtis Blaydes has this quick run-in with him where it looks like he kind of shook up Tom Aspinall. Like, Tom Aspinall definitely felt one of Curtis Blaydes' punches. And I think that kind of stirred him away from his game plan because he's like, oh, I might be able to knock this guy out. And if Curtis Blaydes knocked out Tom Aspinall, wow, what credit to Curtis Blaydes, right? But it was the wrong decision. Curtis Blaydes literally just went toe-to-toe with Tom Aspinall for a minute, and it was over. Some people think early stoppage because Curtis Blaydes got hit, turned around, and all of a sudden Tom Aspinall was on his back throwing punches from behind him that were hitting him in the face, and Curtis Blaydes wasn't really defending himself. While watching, I did think it was a bit early, but I'll be honest. Number one, I don't think it would have made a difference. And number two, if I would have let it go anymore, it would have been one or two punches. Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with the most powerful heavyweight there is. So early stoppage, maybe slightly. But to be honest with you, I think it's the right call. I think it's what would have happened regardless. So kudos to Tom Aspinall. But what this does is raise conversation, right? So who does Tom Aspinall fight next? He mentioned Alex Pereira. He mentions John Jones. In my opinion, we got to stop the John Jones-Stipe BS. Like I've made a video before, John Jones is running from Tom Aspinall. I do believe that. Even though, let's be honest, John Jones goes in there and just attempts to grapple, and that's going to be Tom Aspinall's biggest test. But the Stipe fight's ridiculous. Alex Pereira coming up to heavyweight is kind of ridiculous too. I understand. I want to see it, but to a certain extent, it is a little ridiculous for me. He is undersized. What are we waiting for? John Jones, Tom Aspinall. Interim champion. He defended an interim belt. What is that? What is that? Where are we? Strip John Jones. You strip other champions if they're not active. Yes, he got injured, but he's injured. He's not fighting, and he's avoiding the current contender who's ready to fight. He's waiting for Stipe, retired Stipe. Who wants that? I'm still waiting to hear who wants that fight. It's for John Jones' ego. John Jones wants to be able to say that I beat the best heavyweight of all time because he's already the best fighter of all time. But little does he know that the fans will give him more credit if he fights Tom Aspinall. Because I don't care if you beat 40-year-old Stipe who hasn't fought in like 3 years. Who cares? That's like saying bring Randy Couture out of retirement. Who cares? We don't want to see that fight. We want you to fight the best heavyweight fighter there is right now. Not the best of all time. You could have done that 5 years ago. That's when you should have fought Stipe. Nobody wants you to fight him now. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I think we need to cut that bullshit out. No tournament, no this, that, the other. I think Tom Aspinall versus John Jones, Madison Square Garden this November. That's what the fans want. And that's what gives John Jones credibility in this day and age. That's what says, fuck, he is still the GOAT. He is the GOAT. There's no one on this planet who could beat him when he takes out Tom Aspinall. But we don't have the same reaction when he fights Stipe. That's clear. So moving on. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. Guys, I called Belal Muhammad. I really did think he was going to catch Leon Edwards. And for a second, when he took him down and Leon landed on his head, I thought it was over. But Leon Edwards, flat. Not there. Point fighting. Waiting for the fight to come to him. Belal Muhammad, in my eyes, did what Kamaru Usman did in their second fight. He just didn't get caught with a kick. Because in reality, Kamaru Usman did this. Kamaru Usman had the same exact fight as Belal Muhammad did right now, the second time around when he got head kicked. But he got caught at the end. And that's when Leon Edwards became this star. So that's all that was. I have never thought, and I don't know what's going on with my mic. I got to tighten this thing. I keep adjusting it. But I've never thought that Leon was all that of a champ. I gave him credit when he beat Usman in their trilogy fight. The Kape fight, to me, I wasn't impressed. It was two guys scared to exchange, and Kape didn't do anything, didn't do enough, so Leon took the belt, but he didn't do anything impressive. And then now it just proves that Leon is a point fighter who lets the fight come to him, and anybody who is overbearing will beat him. And a lot of people are not going to like that, but Leon Edwards was not a good champion. Leon Edwards was not fighting frequently. Leon Edwards was a boring champion, and Leon Edwards' only claim to fame was that Kamaru Usman head kick that he pulled out of his ass when he was down 24 minutes. And it got a little funnier, too, when his coach was like, do I need to stop the fight, Leon? Come on, man. Come on, Leon. Come on, Leon. It was just corny this time around. How many times do you need that motivational speech? Fight. Leon Edwards needs to fight. Leon Edwards is just chilling. And whatever, he says he was tired. But no, we've seen this Leon against Kape. We've seen it against Usman. This is Leon Edwards. We saw it against Nate Diaz. That is how he fights. I'm sorry to the English fans. Leon Edwards is not an exciting fighter. Leon Edwards was not an exciting champion. But we just needed Belal Muhammad to prove it. And what do you say now when the most boring guy, Mr. Decision, pummeled your guy? What do you say? What does it say about Leon Edwards? I'm going to leave it right there. But what's exciting about this now is that Belal Muhammad has a tough road ahead of him. Do I think Kamaru Usman should get that title shot? Not really. We need a little more activity from him. I know one of the best welterweights of all time, but I want to see Shavkat Rakhmonov. My issue with that is that I don't believe it sells. And that I'll be honest with you. I think that gets like 25,000 pay-per-views. And that's like everybody in my following and real, true freaking MMA fans. But that's not a good fight as far as promoting goes. But I think it's the right fight for the welterweight division. And to be honest, Dana White didn't have a good time watching UFC 304. He was pissed. There was 7 straight decisions all through the prelims. Early prelims, it was decision, knockout, sub, and then I think we go 7 straight decisions. I think that's what I saw. 7 straight decisions until we get to Paddy the Baddy. So, yeah, that whole bonus thing, X'd out. He felt like nobody had a sense of urgency, even though I did think we saw some good fights. I have to agree with him to a certain extent. The card was flat. Tom Aspinall made it. Paddy made it. Belal being crowned champion made it different and shocking to everybody because a lot of people didn't have him winning. But other than that, early prelims, not that exciting. Molly McCann, look at this. Molly McCann folded. Duncan folded. Just some people just didn't show up. And I think it hurt the card. I think Dana White is pissed. And yeah, we're going to see some changes now because I don't think Dana White's very excited about Belal being champion. But it is what it is, man. It's not about who's doing the craziest knockouts in there. It's about who's winning fights, and Belal Muhammad could win fights. Anyway, guys, that's my UFC 304 breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. I appreciate all your support always. I'm the MMA Casual. Go check me out on Instagram. Have a good one.